Happy New Year, all. I'm delighted to have Roozbeh Bandpey on the show this for the first one of the year. We will be looking at the discussion around generative AI and how it's impacted the AI landscape. So, Roozbeh, you have a solid background in this field. Obviously, you work for some leading and global companies, and now have entered the startup world with yourself. So do you want to give a brief overview of yourself?
Absolutely. Thanks a lot, Ben, for having me. So Happy New Year, everyone. My name is Roozbeh Bandpey, and I'm an AI practitioner at the end of the day, meaning that my job is a lot focused to bridge the gap between business side of AI and actually the technologies around it. So I founded this software consulting and service integration company, and we are focusing on really digging through these industry use cases and making sure we are delivering the end-to-end use cases for our clients.
Brilliant. And welcome. So it's good to have you on the show. And also, like we said, we're going to discuss the impact that generative AI has had. It's obviously been around. I mean, it's interesting to know that obviously it's not just been around for just over a year. It's been around since 1960s, potentially earlier. And I guess now it's quite interesting to see, isn't it, the impact it's already had on businesses. I mean, you can go on ChatGPT, ask it to write you a poem, a song, or even get asked for an image now. So it has made a lot of impact. I guess obviously we'll dig into the first question, obviously how it is involved since the introduction of generative AI models, because I was reading that obviously that it was first started by Alan Turing and John McCarthy, which was around the hidden Markov models, HMMs, and Gaussian mixture models, GMMs. But yeah, I guess it'd be good to get your views on, how has it evolved since this, since the introduction? I mean, the breakthrough was end of 2022. But yeah, have you seen the how's it evolved since yourself?
Absolutely. So, yes, there's a lot of such models and mathematical concepts, and they existed for a long time. But if we really look at the techniques that are used in GPT, for instance, and start backtracking and go back in time, I think the closest scientific paper that would address that is the perceptron from Frank Rosenblatt. And the concept itself, surprisingly, is actually a pretty simple concept that they try to, so to say, model the learning process from human brain perspective. And then we are around, Cold War. There's a lot of, decoding and encoding science going around. And right after the Cold War, potentially during the peacetime, the scientists came to an idea that, we can actually look at decoding and translation from similar lens. We can think of, text written in foreign language as potentially a scrambled sequence of characters, and we want to translate that to the target language. So a lot of those techniques have been used, but still we are really limited by amount of data and compute power. So the math is progressing, but still engineering is not catching up. So up until 90s and late 90s and early 2000, we see growing adoption of personal computers and internet itself. So we are getting slowly more and more data. And very interesting time, I would say, the 2012, the year 2012, there are couple of interesting things happened. First of all, the smartphones are pretty much adopted. The Web 2 is there, a lot of interactive web applications like Twitter, Facebook. So you are getting access to data that is already annotated by human, meaning that, I write a comment, someone like it or add an emotion, it's already getting an annotation from that. And on top of that, it's a start of the cloud computing, meaning that there is an easy access to compute that is needed for training such models. And then deep learning comes. And basically, interestingly, the very first deep learning architecture is called MLP, or multi-layer perceptron, that goes back to Frank Rosenblatt's perceptron model. So starting, I guess, 2018, Google introduces BERT, the transformer war began, and slowly the OpenAI comes in, and then GPT launches, and I think 2022, We have GPT-3 with 175 billion parameter. And 2022, that's a year of breakthrough potentially. It's a year that GPT-3 or GPT-3.5, both of them, they become publicly available through a web interface, and that is potentially introducing it to the public that what AI is capable of. And chat interface itself being a very interesting interface because you are interacting with it and you see and you start raising eyebrows that how conversant these models are actually.
No, I mean it's good. Obviously, it's advancing. I mean, like if you look 5 years ago, like the chatbots, like or having a conversation, it would not work, would it? It's like but now like you actually can have a conversation. Obviously the advancements in NLP, obviously the like text and understanding context, that's really come along. And also, I mean, like the like content side, the images, that's just progressed really quickly. So that's, I mean, it's gonna be it's gonna be it's buzzing times. I mean, it's game changing times, isn't it? Really, we're going through
absolutely
good times. So what? I mean, how obviously you're sort of someone that sort of works in the field, expert. How businesses leveraging Gen AI to enhance their operations or offer like new services?
Yeah, I mean, a lot has been happening, at least in 2023. I mean, on the first wave, we see the companies, the software companies, or so to say, the best resourced ones that are actually behind the development of these models, and they are integrating those services within their service offering. Like, for example, you can take Bing Chat from Microsoft, or GitHub Copilot, or Adobe Firefly. So these are the early adopters. So if today you're using Microsoft Teams or Office 365, it's already there. So these models are already deployed there, so they're helping you. But then you're coming to direction of, so to say, non-software companies, and the very first obvious problem to tackle is human and machine interaction and chat use cases. We have seen for a long time other, so to say, non-software companies like automotive industry. They have been struggling to have a high performance speech assistant, and now we see that by integrating these models into their existing systems and potentially replacing the older models with these new ones, they're gaining huge advantage.
Yeah. So do you think at the minute it's more, I guess, I had another conversation with this with a business lead the other day. It's like, it's more small impact solutions at the minute that like the ROI is not going to be a massive. Obviously, it's going to make the functionality, efficiency better for businesses, but it's not like the ROI is not going to be massive, is it? What's your thoughts?
Well, it's hard to translate it to ROI at the moment, but we also see a lot of other tasks so to say low-level NLP tasks, things like sentiment analysis and topic modeling, clustering, this kind of stuff. The large language models have proven performances, clearly outperformed the older models. So we see that in various enterprises ranging from banking, insurance, pharma, that they already have an AI stack with a chain of NLP models. They already roll up their sleeve to integrating large language models into their stack. On top of that, we also see different Gen AI models, like things like, for example, prompt to image or for creative work. And we see Adobe Firefly has been launched. That is a pretty cool tool, I have to say. And also some other tools, direction of video generation. So if those gain some interesting traction and have some proven performance, they're going to be, very, very interesting numbers coming out there.
Yeah, no, definitely. And I think obviously, like I said, touched on earlier, like the chatbots, things like that, they actually work now. Like it's more just the customized like user experiences. People, you get that it's more personal. Like the personalization is really strong for people now. So I think that definitely helps. So I guess as you touched on, you liked the Adobe product. What in your opinion, what's the most innovative applications that you've come across?
I mean, personally, I really like the co-pilot use cases. I mean, you can also put Firefly in that context as well, meaning that I'm dealing with some sort of work on daily basis. If I'm a programmer or I'm a designer, I can have this Copilot, and that could help me. So GitHub Copilot is very interesting one, and Adobe Firefly, for instance, it's one of my favorite one. But the one of the most interesting one, I have to say, a couple of months back in 2023, I came across this startup based in London that it's called Synthesia, and they're focused on video generation. And the interface, you can imagine it something like PowerPoint.
Mm-hmm.
You just prompt some text and then drag and drop some very realistic looking human avatars and then start actually narrating your text. So it's not that realistic looking at the moment, but you can imagine once that becomes give this realistic feeling to viewer from viewer perspective. You can imagine the breakthrough it will bring to, for instance, the news broadcast channels or those that are supposed to broadcast 24/7 basis.
Yeah, no, definitely, I agree. Obviously, it's been a lot, or sort of, I guess, more by the media. Do you think generative AI will create more new opportunities, or sort of replace existing ones? I guess it's a hot topic, and obviously the media have been pumping this. So, yeah, what were your thoughts?
Absolutely, I have to say it's both, right? So we have seen many times in the past this happened that technology, is introduced, for instance, smartphone or personal computer, things like that, that potentially, completely removed older jobs and created new jobs. But the difference is that this time this is happening at much faster pace. And I think the adoption also has to catch up with this pace as well. Well, that's one direction. But for instance, you can look at from the time that personal computer did not really exist, and for instance, you want to publish news, so you have to rely on a lot of repetitive tasks from the whole chain of activities, from basically editing and writing, and the mailman has to deliver all of those. And now those repetitive tasks potentially has reduced, and then there are a lot of tools out there that we are using to deliver those kind of stuff. So also in the other direction, for example, the technology itself, I believe that the reduction of jobs would be very fast replaced by the creation of the new jobs. Things like, for example, responsible AI or operational efficiency did not exist, for instance, 2 years back, but it's gonna be a hot topic in the coming years.
Yeah, no, I've definitely seen change. I mean, even like if you look back a couple of years back, we didn't have like data scientist jobs with product. Now a lot of them, I mean, we get a lot of jobs, data scientists actually with the product skills. So it's sort of embedding. Obviously, there's still the techie roles out there, but it does seem like business leaders now want the ability for people, I guess, the problem solving skills that have got that aspect to their role. And even like I've seen got with another tech lead of a company, and he mentioned like they're now having like testing roles with AI skills in their the skills requirement. So it does seem like it's embedding more. The roles are obviously they just they're evolving, I guess is the best way to put it. It's going to create new jobs. It's going to take some jobs, but like I say, I do agree with you. I think it will. I think it's just going to create a lot more opportunities, but also there will be the need to upskill as well.
Exactly.
I guess then, obviously you come from a consulting background, so you obviously get touched in different industries. What do you think what do you think will be the most significant impacts of Gen AI on various industries? Do you think any particular, obviously I know it's going to, like efficiency, things like that's going to impact, but is there any particular industries you think are really going to stand out through using Gen AI?
One obvious improvement and impact that we see is through the customer interaction, this personalized interaction that can be massively improved by integration of Gen AI. And I'm looking forward to more or less integration of these. And I see and I hear some news in direction of pharma with respect to drug discovery and so on.
Yeah.
So these are going to be very also interesting use cases. So these are like the top picks out there right now within enterprises. But in general, one thing that I see quite a lot that is becoming a hot topic is the whole data foundation within enterprises. Because, you know, when you have a enterprise that their the assets goes back decades in the time, and they went through a couple of mergers and acquisitions, you know, they ended up with fragmented IT infrastructure, and you know, getting access to the data that is needed for generative AI is pretty challenging. You know, sometimes they have to turn the whole ship around to get the data that they really want. So rethinking the data architecture that they have and having a proper data strategy potentially is something that we are also seeing as a trend in 2024.
Yeah, no, definitely. Obviously, lots of benefits. Obviously, I'm especially like financial services. You've got obviously fraud detection can be increased. I mean, like insurance, within the insurance world, obviously improve like risk policies, things like that. And I think like obviously like the retail manufacturing is going to improve like efficiencies there. So yeah, there's definitely, I think it's obviously getting it on the right business case as well, isn't it? Because there's lots of tools out there, certain type things. So I mean, I just feel like I speak to people, like people have just like thrown all their work into like business cases using Gen AI when there may be other ways that could be implemented. So what I guess for yourself then, obviously this is obviously the impact was last year, and everyone obviously went through everything into Gen AI. But so how, I mean, how businesses adapted Gen AI? Do you think businesses are just, is it too much onto Gen AI, putting too much impact, like focusing too much on Gen AI when there could be other possible ways? And I guess any like success stories you've sort of seen?
Absolutely. I mean, you know, when there's such a trendy technology comes out and then, you know, resonates out there, there is a huge tendency to literally see every problem as a nail and solve it with Gen AI. And this is something that, you know, we see quite a lot, and we tell our clients that, you know, this can be tackled with just simple program, or even maybe just a normal non-Gen AI machine learning model.
Yeah.
But with respect to success story, one of my favorite one is from Adidas. It's from around the corner in Bavaria, and yeah, I think it's the first physical product that's coming out of Gen AI. I mean, it's not. I shouldn't give the impression that there is a bot that you prompted and then the shoe design is out there. But I think they call it the Future Craft Strong. And throughout the process, they actually use Gen AI for the design of this shoe. And the shoe looks really cool, but I don't think I would be wearing it because it looked like it will collect a lot of dirt at the moment. But yeah, so the design is, so they have used Gen AI to generate and test hundreds of designs. So these are like basically goes direction of R&D. One of the most important KPI in R&D section is that you want to minimize waste, meaning that you have to do a lot of prototype, a lot of testing, a lot of early stage, so to say, getting the market fit and so on. So this process can be hugely accelerated with use of Gen AI. That's what they have done, and they even integrated athlete data into design of those shoes.
Okay, no, that's very interesting. I think, yeah, it's going to be like obviously in the year, obviously future. It's going to be interesting to see what the stories that come up and what is actually, what is created, what businesses can actually achieve. I guess on obviously the flip side, there's obviously the regulatory side. I mean, how has that changed with these advancements, and what further changes might be necessary? Obviously, there's a lot of talk about ethical AI bias. What do you think? Yeah, just be good to get your input on that.
Absolutely. I mean, at the very earliest stage, we have seen some companies already banned the usage of such a tool in-house, and they have the all right to make such a decision, because in fact, I mean, that's a reality that usage of these tools can be risky, and there's a lot of risk associated with the whole bias and the degree of randomness that is associated with the response that they're generating. And they have been, trained on all public available web data, and there's a lot of junk in those data. So it can, produce some nonsense at times. But we see some trends that potentially C levels and VP levels, they're basically going around the organization, talking with data privacy, with legal, with compliance, and so on, to get the, so to say, allowance to have these tools integrated within their enterprises. And we see also some trend between buy versus build decision that a lot of enterprises need to make, because if your organization is, if your business model is based on an intellectual property, so all you have to do is to protect that intellectual property. That is one thing, and European Union being the most advanced when it comes to so to say regulatory landscape of AI in general. I think it was December 2023 that they actually came to a conclusion, and the all EU member states and Parliament basically reached an agreement, and basically they created some clause. And if I want to put it simply, the outcome was they really aim to find a balance between protection and innovation, and that is the thing that need to be achieved. And I think the aim is to prevent the Oppenheimer moment of AI, and also enabling innovation. That is pretty challenging task. I mean, I read some clause regarding so to say restricting usage of generative AI in things that could target children, like toys, for instance, or for example, some other use cases that could potentially have other impacts, like defense as well, or using biometric data. These are completely sensible actions that need to be taken. With respect to copyright and infringement and these kind of topics, I think there's a lot more need to be done to clarify what does that mean when a code is written by a generative AI model, or a text written, or a marketing text is written on that sense. So I think we are going to see a bit more progress in that direction as well in 2024.
Yeah, no, definitely. I think obviously it needs to be handled appropriately, and obviously to protect companies and obviously people, more importantly. So what do you think? I guess other current limitations and challenges around Gen AI will be?
Limitation in terms of technology itself, it's pretty new technology, so there's a lot of limitation, and we are going to see massive improvement in that direction. Like there are limitations in terms of context length, and limitation in terms of cost associated with the training of such algorithms. I think GPT-3 cost €4 million, $4 million. Sorry, I mean pretty much the same, but then there is other things coming up, like prompt injection that could lead to hallucination. That by its own is very interesting phenomena. But going in direction of not the technology itself, rather integrating that technology within companies and enterprises out there. In my opinion, the biggest challenge and limitation is actually the data foundation itself. Meaning that, as I mentioned earlier, a lot of organization data assets are in form of PDF, or in form of decades of Excel files, and those are what we refer to as gray zone data. These are not necessarily and easily accessible by a data platform, meaning that it's not just an operational database that you can pull data from. So it's like lying around. And in the past, we have seen that a lot of AI use cases was coming from business side, meaning that the business comes and said that I need this for instance, improvement, and the data scientists and the whole AI team goes around and basically try to hunt and chase the data. But now this approach is not really going to work for generative AI, because, for example, one of the kind of a quick win use case of Gen AI is to have your own in-house enterprise bot that can act as a knowledge base for you. So you might have a stack of documentation lying around, and you just want to ask a simple question instead of spending a lot of time to go through documentation. So this accessibility of data is the topic that I would definitely consider as one of the challenges for enterprises out there. Having a proper data strategy that could address that, and minimizing data movement in architecture that could facilitate the minimizing data movement is something that need to be definitely considered.
Yeah, definitely. I think also like especially speaking like businesses, obviously data projects are expensive, and there's always been that discussion as the politics between business and the data teams, like what is the ROI, what can you get out of it? But it does seem like Gen AI has sort of brought things forward, like people have been like need like sort of, I guess it's brought to the attention to like I guess non-techie like business leaders that we need to do this now, or you're just going to get left behind. Obviously, it can streamline activities, efficiencies, and also look, there's a lot more opportunity out there that's going to be made. And also, I think obviously we're going to touch next. What do you think the trends are? But obviously, there's a lot that still can be done. Look, I mean, it's a year old. Like, well, obviously, since the breakthrough, but there's a lot more now that can be. You know, there's going to be so much more opportunity out there. There's a lot more, like, still like early days, and it needs to be the research, the strategy needs to be like right with it. Like with any project in IT, you need the right project, the right strategy in place, so businesses know where they what's the end goal. That's what they want to know. But obviously now they can need to firstly businesses now we got a lot of roles last year that businesses now are like hiring like more strategy type data people to look at actually like what can we do here, what can we do here, what's going to be the end result, what can we achieve. So I do think that's going to be obviously still business is still in that stage. So like I said, I think it's going to be like a lot of projects have been like internal type solutions, haven't they? Like chats, making efficiency better. But I think obviously, like it's going to be more as businesses get more grip of it. The future trend will be on like making it more like industry related to their business, and how can they make impact and improve solutions. So yeah, what do you think is going to be the like future trends then?
Well, that's very interesting question. I mean,
quite open.
Yeah. So I would look at the past 1 or 2 months and maybe a little bit into 2023. I would say 2023 itself was the year of open source large language models, or open source models in general. Like models like Dolly, Llama, they came in and they actually improved a lot on the training cost that is associated with these models. So I would say in 2024, we are going to see more of these, more, so to say, open source models that companies can train on their own data, meaning that we are going to lead to more specialized models within the business domain that I have. And that is one thing. I mean, we have seen already, this is actually something, nothing really new. It already existed from BERT model that was introduced by Google. And then on top of that came BioBERT and then SciBERT for scientific, basically, use cases. And I think we are going to see that trend as well. I think Bloomberg also launched Bloomberg GPT that they started basically even commercializing on top of that. Yeah, absolutely. So I would say that's going to be definitely the trend. I think we are going to see that people are going to say that the shift between that I don't need 500 billion parameter. I'm happy with 50 billion parameter, but on a data that I trust, on a data that is for my organization. So this shift is definitely the case. I mean, the other thing is that people like us, they don't have to sell AI anymore. There's a significant demand pool coming from enterprises themselves because the value that AI can add is already clear for all of them.
Brilliant. No, I think like I say, it's definitely exciting times ahead, and obviously, it's been interesting. Last year, it's just I think it just hit everyone, didn't it? Like it's just come out of nowhere. And interesting times ahead. Brilliant. I really appreciate your insights, and I think everyone will really enjoy listening to your thoughts. And it's been a great one to kick off the year. Thanks for your time.
Thanks for having me. Thank you.
Good. Thank you.